Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dominique Davis, also known as Brown and Bindi, and here on this channel we practice flexibility of the mind, the body, and the spirit. If you would like to join the Bendy Bunch and become a reality bender yourself, please make sure that you click the subscribe button as well as the notification bell. Today's video is going to be about creating the new life that you want for yourself. I have been reflecting a lot this week and the week before on where I was years ago, 3 to 4 years ago, and I think that I still even have some vlogs up on my channel of where I was 3 or 4 years ago. And nothing that we go through in life is ever a mistake. Nothing that we experience is ever without significance. But at the time, if you don't have spirituality while you're going through it, if you don't have spirituality, if you don't have a belief system that supports you, those rough times can be made a little bit more difficult just because of your mindset. So I was reflecting on where I was a few years ago, and it was just beautiful because I was observing how my mindset has shifted and how I've seen that shift in my reality. 4 years ago, mind, body, spirit wise, I was just in a completely different place. I was in a place where I lacked gratitude and I had a very sad lack mindset. Everything that happened to me happened to me. I was a victim, and I never saw the blessings in my daily life, and that contributed to me consistently manifesting reasons to not be grateful, consistently manifesting reasons to tell myself that life is going to be the same day after day after day. 5 or 6 years ago, I was getting over a multiple sclerosis diagnosis, and that was pretty intense for me because my mom has MS. And that was the beginning of my spiritual journey, but I can even look back now and see how my mindset contributed to that diagnosis, to me getting sick so quickly. 4 or 5 years ago, my relationship with the universe was an empty relationship. I was raised as a Christian. I went to church when I was little, but the way that I saw God, the way that I saw spirituality was very empty. I saw it as a set of rules compared to now where it's everything and in everything. And again, I see the significance of every event and how it's mirrored in my mind and in life. And lastly, 4 or 5 years ago, back to that lack mindset, I had what I perceived as no abundance. So that's how I was living on a daily basis, with this feeling of having no abundance. And that led to anxiety of how am I going to pay my bills? That led to depression. Why do other people deserve this life and not me? 5 or 6 years ago, I can honestly say I was a completely different person. And I want to give you all the tools on how to become the person that you know that you can be, especially if you don't know where to start. I completely and 100% used the law of attraction to create the life that I have for myself now. It was 200% intentional. The life that I have now was not created by mistake. The life that I have now did not just happen. Okay, I didn't wake up and life was like this. It was day after day of retraining my mind, day after day of understanding my relationship with my surroundings and my relationship with myself. So I guess the first thing that we should talk about is awareness. For me, when I started, my mind was a mess, and I started my journey when I was 25. Yeah, 24, 25. So that's 24, 25 years of anxiety and depression piled up in my mind. No spring cleaning had been done. No type of maintenance, just trauma after trauma just stored in my head. So when I started my journey and I began to tune in, I realized almost immediately that there was plenty of work to be done. And that came through stillness, learning to find stillness. And at the beginning, it's not always easy. You know, some people can't jump right into meditating, and I was one of those people. I couldn't meditate at the beginning. I had to count my breath as opposed to just sitting in silence, sitting in stillness. But slowing down, sorry to get off topic, but this is going to be a foundational video. So if you hear anything in this video that you would like me to expand on, leave a comment letting me know what that is, because I'm going to mention a lot of things in this video that I can make plenty of other videos about. So just let me know what you hear that resonates with you, and I'll know that I should make a video about that in the future. But finding stillness allowed for me to slow down where I was. Okay, so no, I wasn't meditating for an hour at the beginning of my journey. I was counting for 30 seconds, just counting from 1 to 30, trying to keep my mind on the numbers. That's how I started. And within doing this, I was able to start hearing my inner dialogue. I was able to begin hearing how I talk to myself, and I was able to hear my own belief system. You know, especially if you have anxiety and the thoughts are coming so fast, when you're going through life, you're not articulating the thoughts that you're hearing in your mind. You're just emotionally reacting. So when you begin to become self-aware, you can turn into the stories that you're living every single day. And that's when you give yourself the power to observe that story. When you begin to observe your thoughts, you can give yourself permission to observe your thoughts without emotion. Because if you observe your thoughts without knowing that you don't have to be defined by your thoughts, you can listen to your thoughts and think this is just how everything is. But if you take that emotion away and you just observe what your mind is saying, you give yourself the power to say, do I believe that? Or is that just programming? And once you give yourself the power to make that decision, you're able to hold the thoughts that serve you and replace the thoughts that don't. Also, identifying your thoughts and becoming more aware of how you think allows you to notice when your vibration shifts, when your mood shifts. 4 or 5 years ago, I would be happy, then I would be sad, then I would be angry, then I would be quiet and anxious, and it was just kind of a roller coaster, and I didn't really know what was going on. And that's because I had underlying memories playing in my head and I wasn't even aware of it. You know, triggers. That's what triggers are. When you see something or hear something that relates to a traumatic memory, your mind will relate back to that memory, but your conscious mind may be protecting you from that trauma. So even though your conscious mind, you can be in a conversation with someone and not even realize that your brain is still replaying that trauma in your mind. And that's why your mood's shifting and you don't even really understand why. The only way to identify that is by slowing down and seeing what's going on. So the first part of using the law of attraction to change your life is figuring out what is going on in your mind, because our thoughts are what create our energy, and that energy is what determines what type of energy we are attracting into our lives. So it starts with our thoughts. But I'm not here to tell you the first step is changing your thoughts. The first step is just becoming aware of what your thoughts are. So the next step would be learning how to train your thoughts. Okay, so the subconscious mind is very different from the conscious mind. The best way to explain it is to think about an iPhone and the apps on the iPhones, the different programs, that will be your conscious mind. You know, you can move the programs around, you could add programs, you can delete programs. Just like in your conscious mind, you can decide what you want to think about, you could decide what you want to talk about, you can figure out what memory you want to think about, you know, you can really just decide what you want to have going on. Now, going back to the iPhone metaphor, the operating system, the difference between an iPhone and an Android is their operating system. That operating system is the subconscious mind. You know, some apps are only made for iPhones, right? So if you have an iPhone and you have an Android and you want to put an app that's only available for an iPhone on Android, it's not going to work. 2 different operating systems. But you can't necessarily go into the phone and observe the operating system unless you're just really good at stuff like that. But that's not the point. The point is the operating system is the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is where your belief system is. So your conscious mind can't necessarily say, well, because I was 4 years old, my teacher said this, and that's why I believe I'm this way. We can't always get there by ourselves because that's in our subconscious. It's not in our conscious mind. So when we begin to train the mind, we learn how to pay attention to the thoughts that we're having consistently. And by recognizing those patterns, we're able to use our intellectual mind to say, oh, this must be one of my subconscious beliefs. Learning to train your mind also allows you to emotionally disconnect from who you are in this moment. That was something that was really big for me. I knew that I was unhappy, and I think that everyone has to get to that point before they start their spiritual journey. You have to get to a point where you just say, I don't want to live like this anymore. Because when you get to that point, you're just ready to try anything in order to be happy. And it's having an open heart and an open mind that allows you to say, okay, well, the choices I've been making right now are not serving me. It allows you to disconnect from the ego because you know there's something better out there for you. But a lot of times we can fight. We can fight change. We can fight growth because our ego wants to tell us we've been doing it this way for this long. Why fix what's not broke? You know, so being able to disconnect from the idea of who you are now allows you to create space and allows you to start to see the person that you ultimately want to become. But the only way to have the mental space to see that is by preparing yourself to disconnect from who you are in this moment, not taking things personally, like admitting to yourself that in past arguments, you were wrong. Admitting to yourself that in past fights, you were wrong. Admitting to yourself that in the past, you were not perfect. You have flaws, that you have reacted off of pain. You have hurt people. Taking responsibility for all the things that you have done because you know that you're choosing to be a better person. But we have to get to a place where we have that emotional and mental space. So that also comes from listening to our thoughts and learning how to disconnect from those thoughts. Now, the actual training part of this comes in when you begin to learn your own language, your inner language. When you begin to become familiar with the voice in your head. Then you start to bring in affirmations, or you know, you can read, there's a lot of things that you can do, but hey, here on this channel, I'm trying to get you where you want to be in a timely way for your journey, but I'm not trying to waste any of your time. So we're going to just say with affirmations. So I think affirmations are so powerful because they teach us how we should be talking to ourselves. They teach us how our inner monologue should really be going. Because when you do affirmations every single morning, then it's really easy to see the contrast between your affirmations and how you naturally talk to yourself. If you spend 20 minutes saying, I am beautiful, I am beautiful, I am beautiful, I am beautiful, then you're done with your affirmations, you go to get dressed, you put on a bunch of different clothes, you look in the mirror and you hear in your mind, none of this looks good on me, why should I even try? Those are two completely different voices. And when you don't have the positive voice to compare your inner monologue to, you just think that your inner monologue is just your inner monologue. So you want to learn how the positive voice sounds so that when your mind begins to spiral, when your mind begins to convince you of things that might not necessarily be true, you have a reference point. Okay, we're not talking about changing ourselves overnight. We're not talking about doing the impossible. I'm not here to scare you. I'm not here to intimidate you. I'm here to give you real tools that are obtainable in this moment. And what I'm telling you can do right now is you can begin to train your mind. You can literally stop, listen to what's going on upstairs, start doing affirmations, and compare how you talk to yourself to how positive affirmations make you feel. How do the positive affirmations make you feel? And how does your self-talk, your natural self-talk make you feel? Whatever feels better, you want to lean towards that. Ultimately, This allows us to start curating that internal vibration that will allow us to attract all the things that we want in our life. But what I used to say this all the time, and I've stopped, and I'm going to start saying it more often because I feel like a lot of us just forget. You know, some people want wealth, some people want big families, some people want a great job. Awesome. We all have different desires, and we will talk about how to tune our vibration to those desires. But it's very easy to get that desire once your vibration matches the vibration of that high vibrational experience. It's not the singular desire that you're working so hard to get. You want these things because they will make you feel a certain way. So we are learning how to feel that way right here, right now, so that our vibration can naturally attract those higher vibrational experiences. So the last part of using the law of attraction to change your life is, like I just said, setting that intention to who you want to be. Okay, so this entire video so far, we have been talking about raising our vibration, changing our thoughts so we can match the vibration of higher vibrational experiences. So that is the vibrational work. Now we have to talk about the intention, because those are the two things that are going to help you manifest, okay? So you can set your intent. I'm getting really excited. I'm going to try to slow down. You can set your intention by starting to craft your idea of who you want to be. The reason that I didn't say this first is because it takes a little bit of self-work before you're ready to define this person. You have to get to a place where you're no longer emotionally attached to your thoughts and the person that you were. That work has to be done first. If you go in trying to just change who you are without doing that work, you will still be emotionally attached to yourself. And you might be prone to think, I want everything about my life to change, so I'm going to change everything about myself. And that's not what you need to do, because there are parts of yourself that do serve you. You know, there is a balance. No one is completely bad. No one is worthless at all, in my opinion, but you might feel worthless. All of you is not worthless. You might have habits and thoughts that don't serve you, but there are parts of you that if you leaned into those parts, your dreams would come true in a week, a month, a year, depending on how big your manifestation is. So all this to say, that's why I didn't say define the person first. But once you begin to disconnect from who you are right now, emotionally, and you have an open mind, you can start to see again in an unemotional way what direction you want to take your life. Okay, because then we start to get into our desires. Every person has desires, and we're supposed to have desires because our desires are our guide. They help us know what our soul ultimately wants and what will lead to our happiest life. I'll put it like this. Begin to open your mind to what you want physically, what you want in this physical world. Because internally, I believe, this is just me, internally, I just believe that everything is love. I think once you start this journey and once you begin to work on your internal state, if you relate everything back to love, I love every human, I love everything about myself, look, that's enough self-work for a lot of us, right? So internally, I believe that our desires are always based in love, loving ourselves, loving others, especially those who give us a hard time. But externally, there's a world of desires, right? So start to define what you want. Start to write down what you want. And then we tune to the station of our manifestation by beginning to have the thoughts that the person who would have this manifestation, beginning to tune to the thoughts that that person would have. So, for example, let's say that you want a lot of friends. You know, you're really happy with your life, but you just don't have a lot of friends. You could say, I want a lot of friends, but there aren't a lot of people in my city. I want a lot of friends, but I don't go out. You know, you can make a lot of excuses. Or you can write down, I want a lot of friends. You can observe the statement and then unemotionally, without thinking about you, without thinking about where you are in the world or your circumstances, looking at that phrase, a person who wants a lot of friends, what is their mindset like? Personally, the first thing I would think is a person who has a lot of friends has a lot of mental space for those friends, because we're not talking about acquaintances, we're talking about real friendship, right? So a person who has a lot of friends has a lot of mental space for friends. So then you pull it back to yourself and you begin to think, how much mental space am I giving to others? How much of myself, of my time, of my intention am I giving to other people in a positive, loving way? And then that can help you see what needs to be shifted in order to be a person who has a lot of friends. Yeah. All in all, the law of attraction is the best. It changed my life. I will never stop saying that. I know that lots of people get really tired of hearing about the law of attraction, and I get it. I really do. But I mean, I'm still reaping the benefits of a changed life. I am very intentional with my vibration and what I choose to bring into my life. So I use the law of attraction literally every day, and we all do because it works whether we know it or not. But I don't know. I'm a stan. The law of attraction showed me what God does, basically. The law of attraction awakened? The law of attraction awakened my spirituality, because it really showed me how the world works and how powerful we are and that we are creators. So yes, that is that. Okay, so lots of stuff in this video, so just make sure you let me know down below what you would like me to expand on. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up so other people know that it is valuable and that they should watch it, and also share it. If you know somebody could benefit from this video and you know it could help them go from one place in their life to another, why not share that with them? Also, like I say in every video, if you'd like me to expand on anything that I talked about in this video, just let me know down in the comments and I will be happy to. Last but not least, please make sure that you're subscribed so you can be around for my next video. I'm so excited about getting back into the basics because I don't know, guys, life's just good, and I want everyone to have a life this amazing because, again, life's just good. And I love you so much. I'll see you next video.